Thank you very much, Gerhard. And also from my side, I'm very pleased to be here today for this important launch event and the good work IEA has done. Ms. Marie van der Hoven, we had already in a number of fields very good relations, DG Energy, IEA. We are part of a number of reviews and governing board and missions in emergency. So on this side, I think the work has been done very well. And by the way, just for your information, the European Union had done also a review of our policies quite recently done by IEA, which is done every 5 years, and the report came out last year, end of last year. And that helped us also, one of the elements, to prepare our new energy union. And I think you might have heard about it. The Commission has adopted on the 25th of February one of the priority of this new Commission of President Juncker, Vice President Šefčovič, and Commissioner Arias Cañete to come out with a strong energy union, which is built on the work we have done on energy security. It has some obviously geopolitical elements of it, and I will come back to that. It has the key element of the internal energy market, and it has been building also on our energy and climate policy framework for 2030. All these elements have led to this new, very ambitious initiative of the Energy Union. So the Energy Union has 5 key dimensions, which we will work on the next couple of years, together with member states, together with third partners, together with industry and NGOs. So the first one is called energy security solidarity. So this is obviously the external dimension, the good relationship with the energy community, with the Eastern Partnership, with Central Asia, and so on. So we will enhance that good cooperation via dialogues, via infrastructure projects, and I come back to that, and other elements and means. So here I think it's a clear priority on energy security and external dimension. The second dimension of the energy union is the fully integrated internal energy market. This is between the 28 member states to have a completion of the internal market for electricity and for gas. We have done already a lot in the last couple of years. There's the third package of liberalization of the markets. We are not yet there, so there's a couple of things we need to improve, and we will do so both for electricity and gas. The third dimension, equally important, is energy efficiency. For everything we do, if we can moderate energy demand, be more efficient in energy, it will help us for security of supply reasons, it will help us for competitiveness and certainly for sustainability issues. So energy efficiency is another key dimension of our energy union. The fourth dimension is what we call the decarbonization of the economy. That basically refers to domestic resources, be it renewables, be it nuclear, depending on our member states. But this is certainly something which we want to encourage to decarbonize the economy, use our domestic low-carbon resources in the future, also in view of the 2030 energy and climate policy framework. And fifth dimension, last but not least, which is important, is research, innovation, and competitiveness. We need to continue to invest in research in all areas of energy, storage, hydrocarbon platforms, including gas, shale gas, and so on. So we have to do a lot on innovation and also on competitiveness to keep our energy prices affordable for both our households and our sector. So this is the energy union, the 5 dimensions which are interlinked, but obviously in this context here, the external dimension and what we call diplomacy in support of energy and climate objectives is the key element we want to reinforce. So I will explain a little bit what we do in the energy context in the Eastern neighborhood and Central Asia, and then we can continue discussing all the other elements. So what we can see when we speak about energy cooperation in Eastern Europe and Central Asia, there are a lot of common challenges which all the 11 countries have in common. But at the same time, we saw and see the context in the different countries is heterogeneous and political orientations diverge, which is normal because there are energy producing countries, there are transit countries, and there are energy consuming countries. And therefore we have different interests and a different divergent focus on the respective domestic energy policies. Some of your countries, they have physical borders with the EU, others have not. There are different legal frameworks, and there are countries which have signed association agreements or deep and comprehensive free trade agreements with the EU, and other countries have not. There are countries which are members of the energy community, and there are countries which are not. So there's a clear, obvious traditional divergence, but there are some also common challenges. With regard to the Eastern partners, there's agreement between the EU and them that the Eastern Partnership is a well-founded political framework for cooperation, and there are dual strands, bilateral and multilateral cooperation. Let me come to some examples of good energy cooperation in some of your countries. There's first of all the Southern Gas Corridor, a key infrastructure project and a key aspect of cooperation with the Eastern partners is the Southern Gas Corridor and also the Trans-Caspian pipeline. They both are important. So to date, we have very solid progress achieved on all the projects which are linked to the Southern Gas Corridor because there are different parts of it, different infrastructure parts which build that corridor. From the development of the Shah Deniz 2 field to the expansion of the South Caucasus pipeline, the Trans-Anatolian pipeline and the Trans-Adriatic pipeline, though these are the different pipelines involved. There had been successful regional cooperation between the countries concerned by this infrastructure, be them EU member states or not, and this made it possible to reach that development stage we are now in. In this respect, I would like to highlight in particular the importance of the Southern Gas Corridor Advisory Council meeting, which was held on the 12th of February in Baku, where our Vice President Šefčovič was present, and which has contributed significantly to strengthening politically the development of the Southern Gas Corridor by bringing together all the countries and all the stakeholders involved. The Southern Gas Corridor is part of our European energy security strategy and the energy union, and it needs to be completed in time so that gas can flow to Europe by 2020. So this is the clear timeline for this project. The key aspects of the Southern Gas Corridor, the expansion of the South Caucasus pipeline, the Trans-Anatolian pipeline TANAP in Turkey, and the Trans-Adriatic pipeline TAP to Italy, have also been identified as projects of common interest. And that means that the Trans-Anatolian pipeline has already received also financial assistance under our Connecting Europe facility. Part of our energy union is obviously to accelerate efforts to deliver diversification and competition benefits of the Southern Gas Corridor in southeastern European markets. So the Commission has taken then the initiative to support this by setting up a high-level group on Central and Southeastern Europe gas connectivity. It's focused on gas for the time being. And that high-level group met for the first time on the 9th of February in Sofia in Bulgaria, together again with Vice President Šefčovič and Commissioner Arias Cañete. And that was a reaction from the Commission following the decision by Gazprom to cancel or to suspend, but at the end cancel the South Stream project. And that has obviously reaffirmed the need for further regional cooperation by developing priority projects and optimizing the use of the existing infrastructure. That's why it's in our interest to scale up the development of the Southern Gas Corridor by also including gas from other Azerbaijani gas fields and from other countries in the region. In this respect, there's an ongoing negotiation process with Azerbaijan and Turkmenistan in order to bring additional gas supplies from the Caspian regions via the Trans-Caspian pipeline. We are ready to hold another round of trilateral EU, Azerbaijan, Turkmenistan negotiations, hopefully in the near future. When we speak about Central Asia, We maintain energy cooperation with the region in 3 main channels. First, we have a number of bilateral memoranda of understanding on energy cooperation with Kazakhstan since 2006, Turkmenistan 2008, and Uzbekistan since 2011. We have also multilateral Baku Energy Initiative, which is supported and implemented by the INOGATE program. And third, we have financial assistance for investment projects, which is possible through the Investment Facility for Central Asia, which promotes additional investments and key infrastructure in a number of fields, including in the energy. And this offers the possibility of blending EU grants with loans from European financial institutions. It's worth to note so far that energy has been the most financed sector by this investment facility for Central Asia. Moreover, with Kazakhstan, we have recently initiated a new enhanced partnership and cooperation agreement that is going further and opening further opportunity to enhance our energy cooperation. It's for the first time that we have concluded a chapter on raw materials and on energy in a non-preferential agreement with an oil-producing country, with rules going beyond WTO and beyond the Energy Charter Treaty commitments. Central Asia is one of the energy richest regions in the world, but there are also some energy shortages we are witnessing regularly, and that gives us considerable challenges in the future. First of all, just to name some of the challenges. Regional energy cooperation and energy trade are relatively modest. Secondly, energy infrastructure are quite expensive and extensive, but often very old and inefficient. That's why we need substantial investments also in the future. Third, despite a strong interest in developing renewable energy generation and in improving energy efficiency, the policy frameworks in the region are not the right frameworks to explore fully the vast potential in energy efficiency and in renewable energy. Then, in this respect, I would also then welcome some recent developments in Kazakhstan to support renewable energy. Their initiatives include long-term targets, long-term tariffs for a number of renewables, and other regulatory facilitations. There was a conference we organized in Brussels on the 6th of November, which highlighted that, which was called the Sustainable Energy in Central Asia, where we discussed business opportunity and technology transfer. As said, this is a potential we should use and use more in the Central Asia, because we think that renewables and energy efficiency are key future trends, and this potential should be used. It's also part, as I said before, of our energy union strategy. Energy is also part in the review of the European Neighbourhood Policy, which was already mentioned by Gerhard, so I don't need to go in detail, but obviously key cooperation in the energy field in the context of the reviewed European Neighbourhood Policy is absolutely key. And one of the key elements here is energy security of the EU, which is interlinked with its neighbourhood by definition. And we have a lot of cooperation with neighbouring countries, not at least in the context of the energy community. Let me conclude now by thanking all the colleagues who had been involved, by thanking you for making this interesting report and compendium, which gives a lot of useful recommendation. As said, we have done a similar exercise for the EU relatively recently. It was concluded by end of last year, and the recommendations have been proven extremely useful for future policy making and doing the necessary changes in our energy transition. So thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me, and we are very pleased now to look and more in detail what's coming out of the compendium. Thank you very much.